I'm out here doing some summer scouting in a spot that I had some really nice bucks in last year. This is where I had the Hollywood buck, that big 10-pointer that got really close to on that one day. But he slipped past me and my dad about 10 minutes before he was just out of reach, pretty much. We had known where he was bedded, but we weren't able to make the move on him. Our timing was just off on him. But I'm back into this area and about to put a cell camera on his favorite scrape. Scrape set up right in some mountain laurel, and he comes out just after dark or early in the morning, and he likes to check it. This is one bonus about doing scouting for hunting season during the summer, is that you get to see all these trails that you probably won't be able to see come fall. With all this high grass, you can see where they're really using their trails, because they push down this high grass. See, like, I can see that they're walking this whole edge right here. Come fall, I'm not going to be able to really see that subtle trail, and that could be handy because I can set up. I can know where they have this little travel corridor. There's a lot of deer in this whole spot. I don't know why. I really should be hunting this area more, but I don't know. I'm stubborn, I guess. I really want to get a mature buck in the spot where I've been cutting my teeth hunting. I feel like I need to harvest a mature buck in that spot. If I can do that, I'll feel like I've accomplished what I need to. Hopefully. Oh. This is the scrape I had my camera on last year, that I had this nice 10 Hollywood, quote unquote. Come ripping through here. Afternoons, he daylighted here. Big, heavy-bodied deer. Just a big, tall deer. You can see, like, compared to the other bucks, his body was just taller. Just a big frame. Yeah, I had a lot of bears messing with my cameras here. And it's funny, my dad thought somebody had moved our camera. He had gaslit himself into thinking somebody moved our camera, but yeah, I don't know. He forgets. But I got it on this scrape here. And hopefully we'll be getting him daylighting again. I'd love to see if he's gotten any bigger. I'm so curious, because he was one of the nicer bucks I had on camera. And he's, like, real huntable. I got really close. Me and my dad got real close to getting him. We only hunted him one day, but that one day we got close. So this is what is called a scrape. This is when deer will come up and paw the ground and leave this bear mark. And then they will pick a branch to lick and rub their antlers on, and they'll leave scents from these glands that they have near the top of their heads. And also, will pee in the scrape, and it's a communication. It's like a device of communication for them, so they can see what deer in the area and what's going on. Like, if a doe's in heat, they'll pee in the scrape, and then all the bucks will know. They're like, okay, this doe wants to be bred. It's a key thing that hunters use to set up on, and especially if they're set up in mountain laurel like this, or some sort of coverage where the deer can feel secure. The deer will can usually come through here during the day and feel safe. And so they can be good spots to set up cameras and also set up in a tree or on the ground to hunt. So these trail cameras, these are cellular trail cameras because they have the antenna. These will send the pictures directly to your phone. They do require like a subscription-based thing where you pay monthly, but you don't need trail cameras, and especially don't need cellular cameras to hunt. I like to do it just because it's fun to see what you can get passing through here, and especially see what bucks you might have in your area. But ultimately, you really don't need this to hunt. You know, it's just kind of a confidence thing. It gives me an idea of what I should expect. And they are pretty self-explanatory. You know, when you set them up, like I usually like to have them about hip height, facing either a scrape or some rubs or a deer run that you can see their tracks running through. Something that'll funnel them. Like this one has a couple different aspects. This one's got mountain laurel on either side, which funnels their movement up here. And then on top of that, there's a big scrape right there, the licking branch, that they'll come through. And as they come through, they'll hit that. And it's also something that will draw them to this area. So I've climbed through this mountain laurel, following these little paths that cut through these not hemlocks, through this mountain laurel. And I'm finding pretty much exactly what I want to find, which is, you know, these tiny paths that cut, these tiny trails that are hard to notice, but they cut through the mountain laurel. And I either found a scrape or a bed right here. See this bare spot? Now, thinking it could be a scrape. It does have the potential to be a scrape, but I'm honestly thinking it might be a really worn down bed. Let me smell it and find out. Doesn't have any strong smell to it. But I'm not seeing any hair. What's interesting about these little spots is as I cut through the mountain laurel, if I find these pines or hemlocks, they're usually open underneath the canopy because the canopies are dense, especially with the hemlocks. And in these spots specifically, they got these big, beautiful red oaks. So I mean, like, these spots are tough because they've got so much shelter, so much food. They've really got what they need all right here. Makes them tough to hunt, but sure is fun. I'm on to the next spot now. I'm looking to set up another camera. I'm gonna set it up in my scrape spot that I pretty much put it here every year just because it's a consistent, well, honestly, it's not really consistent. It's one of those spots, it's like every other year. So likely this year won't be too good, but you know, who knows? It's nice to keep a tally on what bucks are in this area. But right off the bat here, I got a track crossing the road. You know, it's interesting to see how it's the left foot isn't lining up here. Could mean it has an injury on its leg, which makes bucks or deer kind of stand out and have some individualism. You know, it could be like a couple years down the road, like, oh, I know this buck. This is the deer with his injured left foot. All right, so check this out. I'm in this little vast piece of hemlocks here, and I'm walking this edge of the mountain laurel, just creeping along. Sure enough, I find what is a exit path, or exit or entrance to the mountain laurel. The mountain laurel hiding like cubby spots where they will be during the day. So this could be a good spot to set up. I'm thinking in the afternoon maybe. Kind of expecting them to be bedded during the day in this stuff. And then as it gets dusk, you might be able to maybe get lucky, have one coming right out. Yeah, you can see the tracks here. how beat down this is, and they use this. They cut right up into here. Yeah, you can tell they'll walk right through here to enter and exit this mountain laurel patch. I'm thinking this could be a good spot in the afternoon. That's kind of, I think, where I'd like to try it, and it's honestly close to the road. So it'd be a fun spot to try and see how well it would work. But I think this area specifically gets hot around the beginning of November, end of October. So that's when I think this would be at its prime. This is an interesting spot I've just found. I'm walking through this little grassland area in the swamp. And this is a scrape I had known about. I actually sat here opening day. And I was going to put a camera here. I think I'm going to. But I just noticed right here, this little spot. This padded down area kind of signifies that a deer was bedded down. And then to really support that claim, you can find these deer hairs laying right down. Usually I'm able to. Let's see if I can find one more. Oh, right here. Look at that. Deer hair laying right down in this bed. It's so interesting to me how deer pick their bedding spots. Like, there's this whole open area, and I'm right on the edge of it, and the deer bed are right there next to these little bushes that were posted up. And I'm guessing that bedding right there, it could see out, but then anything has a problem seeing in, and it has its escape routes coming right here and right there. So it just gives it a good advantage to scope out the area. That's what I'm guessing. I don't really know. But I'm gonna set up a camera here and see if I can get it bedding again, because that would be pretty amazing. All right, camera number 2 is all set up. I freshened up this scrape. So this has historically been a scrape, and I just went in, kicked up the dirt with my feet, freshen it up a little bit. Then we got that bed there, which that would be really amazing if I could get a buck bedded down, a mature buck bedded down right here. That'd be perfect. That's what I'm really looking for, because that's where they're at during the day. Yeah, here's the setup. Real beautiful spot here. Hopefully we'll get something in the fall. I've got this camera here it's not mine, but I've known about it for about a year now. Checked it, I don't mind checking it. I feel like if the cameras are out here, anybody can check them, as long as they don't delete the pictures, because that's where I think it's douchey. Like, I don't delete the pictures off here because it's not mine. But anyways, I'm changing the batteries on it, because whoever's camera this is has not came back for it in well over a year. We're going on to year 2 now of this thing sitting out here. But it's got it's had some pretty awesome stuff on it. And it's interesting. This is the first time I've ever seen this. Somebody made like a little spot for bucks to rub their antlers. They don't really use it much from the videos I've seen, but it's still interesting. They come through here quite a bit. Beautiful, beautiful area. But yeah, I don't mind like people checking mine. I think it's fair game if I have them out there. But don't be the guy that deletes the photos, takes a battery, takes the SD card, or plain just steals the camera, because that's shit. That's pretty poor. Like, we can be adults about this and each have our own spots and have fun, right? finished putting those trail cameras out. In total, I put out 3 and reset that one, so 4 functioning. Now I'm taking a little break, doing some trout fishing. I fished here quite a few casts, but no bites. I don't know, I think there's browns and brookies in the stream, and I've seemed to notice when the 2 mix, for some reason, I don't know if it's a competition or what, but I don't seem to get as many strikes on a lure as I would like a worm or a fly. I think it's something to maybe do with the competitiveness. They don't have to compete as if it was just browns in the stream. I was able to catch 1 brookie, which I'm happy with that, honestly. It's like, it's such a nice spot down here that if you catch 1 fish, I mean, that's good enough for me. You know, just being down here is nice. But it was a nice little 6.5, 7 inch brookie. This area is like one of my secret spots. It's just so beautiful. It's such a nice spot. Try to keep it that way. But yeah, it's a good day. Able to catch some brookies, set up some cameras, found some cool stuff. That wood turtle was awesome. This is a beautiful wood turtle, one of the biggest I've ever seen. But overall, good day. Accomplished what I need to, and I gotta go through some trail cam pictures. So, all right. Deuces.